Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us today for CRM for Everyone. We're going to be walking through Zoho CRM's Next Gen UI. My name is Michelle Scott. My company is Three Leaf CRM, and I am out of the Maryland area. I will go ahead and let Tim, if you would introduce yourself.
Thanks. I am Tim Ryan Young. I am with Synergy Squared, as you can see on the screen. We are based out of the New York City area. Danielle?
I am Danielle Major. My company is Key Consultants, and we are in the Florida area. And today's session is inspired by the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that is exactly how we felt when we saw this new interface at Zoholics. It was quite a shock. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it was quite a shock.
They
Absolutely.
turned CRM on its axis. I mean, just kind of gave it a 90-degree turn, and they moved all of our cheese everywhere all at once. I remember sitting in that first session that they introduced it. It was kind of the big reveal, and we all kind of, I know I did turned my nose. Nope, don't like it. Absolutely not. It just looks so different.
Yeah. And then a day later,
And then
and then like, well, maybe I was a little knee-jerky reaction on that. And we all got to the place where we actually really, really love it. But it's very startling at first.
I think we all left the session, left it on for ourselves, played with it a little bit, and realized it's definitely a new look and feel. I think we all kind of, in several of the presentations, were like, hold up, there's some things our clients need to think about before doing this. So we'll get
100%.
into it, right? And then some really cool new little features too that are not so obvious, and we'll kind of walk through those as well. But yeah, I love it now. I think it's a way smarter use of the screen space. And Danielle, did you want to kind of walk us through what that looks like and how we can organize it?
Certainly. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to show is what most people are currently seeing, and that is having the menu options at the top here. You've got some, we've had tab management, manage tabs for a while now. Most people kind of ignore it. I do have a couple of clients that embraced it, but for the most part, they just leave everything up here.
Yeah.
Then if you don't see what you're looking for, you actually have to go to the ... which is a little bit awkward. And so when you go to the ... it's got all the other items listed. And the part that is it's always been a little frustrating for me, because just because I have calls and tasks up here today does not mean as I'm using the database during the day that they're going to stay there. So they would just hop around on their own. And I believe this new system is going to make that look a lot better.
This version also, sorry, Danielle, this version also kind of changed a little bit depending on the screen resolution, or if you flip from your desktop PC out in the field on a laptop, you might end up, you got a bunch of them now, because I'm sure Danielle.
If you have an ultra wide monitor on your desktop and then you go to your laptop and it's like all scrunched or cut off, or
Yeah. So some of you may already have access to this. It is in early access. And one of the ways that you can check is if you click on your profile picture up here at the top, you may see try new version, the little sparkly menu there. And if you click on try new version, it is going to bring up the new interface for you. One thing I do want to mention here is that if you do have access to this, some of your users may have switched over already, which is kind of one of the reasons why we're doing this. I had a client that the owner found the sparkly menu and switched over to the new version, and nobody could help her find anything because she was on a completely different version. So let's take a look at what the new version is going to look like. This is the cleaned up. You've got demo, clean, team space down here. This is the cleaned up version. So this is what we want to get to at the end of the day, all nice, neat, and pretty. However, that is not what comes out of the box. When you originally switch over, this is what you get out of the box. So it has everything everywhere all at once. Even old items that you have down here, like old modules that you may not be using any longer. and it's just all bunched up in one place. Now, do want to show you how to clean this up a little bit because my OCD goes crazy when I'm looking at something like this. I have to put everything where it belongs in its own little container. So you may be tempted up here at the top to click on Manage Modules. This is one of those buttons that just because you can doesn't mean you necessarily should. I do recommend in the beginning to actually come down here at the bottom and you want to manage the team space. So when I click on manage team space, that gives me all of the team spaces that are available. And it also shows me which one is the default so that I can start managing my organization and cleaning up my team spaces.
And if you did in the old version, if you had tab groups, this is where that you would see them. They would convert over to this area.
Yeah.
They do convert over. And so here, your original one, if you did not have any team spaces in there or any tab groups in there, you have your CRM team space. And I do like to manage this by just going into the team space itself. Usually the first thing I do is I change the team space to match the company name. And I can go ahead and start looking down here and creating folders. So the nice, neat menu that I showed you, that was because I created folders. Where a lot of people get stuck is they may sit down and go, oh, well, what folders do I need? You do not need to come up with every folder before you even start doing this. You are going to create folders as you see them, as you need them, and you can mix and match. So right off the bat, I know that I'm going to need a folder for clients. So I can go ahead and create a couple of these. I'm not going to do them all. I don't want to bore you to death, but I'll do clients. I also know that I'm going to need a folder for marketing. And save that. And I'll make one more for activities. Create my folder for activities.
And these are just suggestions, right? I think,
Yeah.
Think about sort of your business functions or your departments, right? And those are sort of the containers you might create, or you can tell Danielle and I love to containerize our lives, but the folders, think about them as what things are like the other things and how do you want to organize them?
Exactly. And they can be organized for different people in different ways. So they're completely customizable, which is another thing I love about it. I'm going to throw a couple of these in here real quick. So as I highlight, when I'm looking at my clients, what do I work with daily? I'm going to be working with accounts, contacts, and opportunities. So I'm going to shove all of those into my clients. And again, you can call it accounts, you can call it whatever you want to. So here on accounts, when I hover over this, you're going to see one of the buttons here is to move it into a folder, and it actually comes up with the very first folder I made, which is clients. So I can go ahead and move that. I'll take the contacts.
Oops.
And oops, I'll show you how to get that. I did that on purpose so I can show you how to get that back. Opportunities, I'm going to hit move and I will move that into the clients as well. And so now I've got my clients folder. I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to drag him all the way up to the top so that he's fairly organized. And let's see, drag. There's a lot of modules here that we're not using. So, and as I'm going down through this list, this is going to give me examples of what kind of folders I need. So Google Ads, I know that's marketing. I'm going to shove that down into marketing here. Marketing activities, move that. And then visits is going to be marketing, social, and such. Again, I'm not going to bore you to death with putting all this together because it's kind of like a cooking show. I'm going to bring out show you how to put the recipe together and put it in the oven, but then we're going to whip it out from under the cabinet there, under the countertop there, and show you the completed one. So down here, we have reports, dashboards, and permissions. So when I'm finished containerizing everything and getting it nice, neat, and tidy, then I can come down to whether or not I want to show reports or dashboards for this group of people, right? So if I'm doing this for outside sales, for example, outside sales doesn't need access to reports and dashboards. Your marketing team may not need to the reports and dashboards either. So you want to be selective who you give this to. These buttons are going to dictate some of the buttons that are on the other side over here that Tim's going to go through. However, I do want to show you the permissions. So for for example, on this particular one, I'm logged in as the super admin. And right now I am the admin of this team space. The beauty part is if you've got multiple departments, I've got one client that's got 40 different offices, they can have a particular admin of that team space. So you don't have to have the same person being the admin of all of them. You can have a particular department head or a database administrator. One of my clients, their database administrator in the US, they've got one in the UK and one in South America, and they're responsible for their team spaces. So it's really nice division of power and responsibilities that they have there. And we also have who is this team space accessible to? This is one of the important things as well. Do you want all users to be able to see this, or do you want to have select users to have access to this? So while it's nice to assign users to certain things, we often recommend that you utilize the groups, roles, and profiles. And so profiles and roles, people are used to seeing those. So we can come in and say, of this particular team space, I would like for super admin to have access to it. So I'm going to select roles instead of users because it's going to be easier to manage this way.
So much faster.
Ken's going to talk a little bit about that as well. So I'm going to give this to the executive team and super admin. And of course, Danielle's the admin there. So we're going to hit save there and we will hit save here. Now, you guys saw me accidentally delete one of the folders that were there. I can come in and I can correct that. So I can click on add modules. When I click on add modules, this is where I can find I accidentally deleted the contacts off of there. So what we often find is somebody will go through and they will clean up what they think on their best guess as to what's to happen. And then they realize later, oops, I kind of need that module, or we've decided we're going to start using the quotes module now. So I can go in and add it back. So when I click on add modules, it's going to show me the ones that I'm not using. I can now organize this where it goes and move on to the next one. So I can click clients, contacts, click on add, and it's going to go there. And to show you again how to delete some of these, equipment one, I don't need this, regions, I don't need it. I'm going to hit the remove module here. And something important to remember is I'm removing it from this team space. I'm not removing it from the database. It's not gone forever. It's just gone from this team space so nobody has to look at it. Good. I'm going to hit save. And then I am going to pop back over to my modules and I am going to bring out this one. Ta-da! It's all done. It's all pretty now.
So pretty. And I do love collapsing all the little folders, and it's nice and neat and tidy. And then you just expand them as you need to kind of navigate around. So much happier. I can't look at one anymore, Danielle. I think the first time we all were on it and we were kind of learning it together, I pulled up mine and I didn't even realize you could folderize it the way you did. And now I can't look at a user's without my palms getting sweaty. It's
the thing that I love about it is it focuses the screen so much that you don't have a gazillion things, because it can be really overwhelming when you've got 25 things running down that maroon area or that pink area. And this just makes it clean. And like, I'm working on sales right now, so I'm going to look at leads. I'm looking at what do I need to do today? I'm looking at activities. It for me, and I think my clients as well, it really helps you focus on your day and what you want to focus on. So I love it.
So Tim, you were going to talk about some of the considerations that we have. I kind of alluded to a couple of them, but
yes,
you do a really great job of explaining it. So take it away.
Thank you. So the first thing is, obviously you can see here, at least hopefully it's obvious to you, it is to us now that we've gotten used to it, that this new interface is fantastic. It's much more 2024, 2025. It's prettier. It's easier to navigate once you get over that first 24 hours of everything everywhere all at once coming at you. But the couple things you need to really focus on, especially if you're in an admin position within your organization. This rollout comes by user. So each user individually has to select whether they want to go to, or when they go to, CRM for Everyone versus the old version. So as an admin, that means the onus is on you to get in there, switch over before your users do and get things set up. So obviously you're going to want to set up team spaces, which Danielle just went over. And like she said, you're not going to get it 100% right out of the gate, but you're going to clean it up and get it focused for your different groups of users. Profiles and roles, which are a concept that have been in Zoho CRM for as long as I've been working in it, which is over a decade now, is something that in the old interface was pretty buried. And a lot of our clients, we were talking about this when we were getting ready to record, a lot of our clients would just kind of give everybody, they'd say, just, I don't know what these are, so I'm just going to give admin and admin, and then they can see all the data and they can work. Back in the day, that was not a great practice, but it was not as dangerous as it is now. So
yeah.
in here, what you'll see is that when they click on the dot, dot, dot here, depending on whether you've set up their profile correctly or not, they can create new fields, they can create new pipelines, they can create new layouts and rules and workflows, and all of these things that used to be really buried and were really admin functions have been brought to the front, which is great if you're an admin, because it's a lot less points and clicks to get to. But if you're an end user, it's really dangerous because it's a lot less points to get to.
Yeah.
So we definitely recommend that before you roll this out to your team, you spend time setting up your profiles, setting up your roles, and making sure that people that should not be doing some of these features are not doing these features. They've also added a new concept in CRM for everyone, which is team modules. In the old version, when you would create a custom module, it was available to all users. You could restrict it through profiles and other ways, but if you created them, it was available in the entire system. Now in the new version up here where you see modules, if you click this plus, you're gonna get the option to do a new org module, which is available to everyone in the organization. But they have this new concept called the team module. So if I go to create a new team module, it's gonna give me this wizard basically, and they say, hey, do you want to do customer onboarding? Use this template. And you do that, and it's going to create, I'm just going to give this the name of customer onboarding for, oh, let me just do demo then. I guess I'm limited in the number of characters I can do there. So it's going to give you these canned fields, et cetera, that Zoho thinks are the fields that you would want when you're doing customer onboarding, and then you create it. And then only people that are available in this team are going to have access to this new custom module. There are a lot of really great applications for this, but there are also a lot of considerations that you need to take into account before you just start creating team modules.
I think every single one of us has had a database where you have a rogue admin and they go and create a module with lookup fields or multi-select lookup fields, and they don't understand what that even means, what the limitations.
Lookup field.
Yes.
Or we have never talked about this, but I'm willing to bet you both are going to be like, yep, been there. Somebody at the client has admin access, and they create either a custom module or a sub form or something, and they're recreating functionality that's already in the system. They just didn't know that it was there. So then they go recreate it. So now you've got half the data in this place and half it's ripe for creating a scenario where you have a lot of cleanup to do.
Yeah.
So we definitely recommend that you have one person driving the boat. They're kind of designing the system in conjunction with your partner, and that there will be times when creating a team module is a fantastic solution, but it needs to be done in the correct way with the correct long-term goal of knowing how you want to report on information, how you want to dashboard information, because all of those things are going to be affected by whether you create it as an org module or a team module, et cetera. It's going to keep rolling out into a bunch of different areas. So that's a really, really big gotcha on that one as well.
One of the things I usually tell my clients is before you give away the keys to the kingdom, make sure that you train them, right? Don't just let them run with it. And then somebody has to keep track of the change management. So at a bare minimum, and y'all may not be project management driven, I get that, but change management is pretty normal. So make sure they have training and make sure they understand the rules of engagement, because now there is an entire custom module sitting here in the database that somebody created that the super admin does not know about.
That's key to me. Yeah.
Super dangerous. So as Tim said, those getting your security locked down before you roll this out, be proactive, get in here and lock it down before people start finding it, because it's super easy for them to click on. There's no, I'm going to roll it out all at once. No, they have the ability to go down here and click on the sparkly menu and switch to the new version. This, by the way, is how you eject. This is the eject button to get them back to the old version, just in case they do. So make sure you're proactive and get the security lockdown first.
Yeah, and it gets into real minutia, like does every user know when to choose a pick list versus a multi-select pick list?
Right.
A simple choice like that has big ramifications. You can't create layout rules on certain field types, and there's just a lot of nuance that a person needs to have in order to do it correctly. So
sounds like a topic for another session.
it sure does.
And remember I think, Tim, I remember early on, you and I stumbled around on the differences between roles and profiles, because it's nuanced and the language doesn't always kind of click to what it does. Check with your partner, make sure you have a good admin, get educated beforehand, because again, it has ramifications. You want to make sure you're ready.
Yeah, 100%. Last consideration that I would say, we kind of alluded to it, the admin should switch to the new version, should get all of this set up, but we also, I think all three of us recommend that you switch all your users over to the new version at the same time.
Move everything everywhere all at once for everybody.
Exactly. And build training in. You're going to need to probably do a half an hour or 45-minute lunch and learn to show everybody the new way of navigating, the new way of looking up, the new way of where to look for certain things. But you do want to move everybody over at the same time, because the old version is so different. And if you are, particularly if you're in a position within your organization where you're supporting people and somebody says, how do I create, for example, an email template? Well, in the old version, you'd go to the upper right-hand corner. In the new version, you go to the lower left-hand corner. It's stupid things that make your life so much more difficult if you don't move everybody over at once.
It's a new car. You need to know where all the buttons are.
100%.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, Michelle's got all the pretty sprinkles and all the frosting on top. So
So I get to show the little nuggets that you may not see. It's very obvious that they have changed the navigation overall. I do think, again, take a little time, you'll get used to it. Trust me, we did, and I personally don't love change. One of the little things that I love in the new version, similar to a feature that was in the old, but the first little bonus I will show you is if I come down and click on the user icon, I can change the theme. So I can change it to, this is the default with the sort of Zoho primary colors, or you can pick a different color here. I'm a blue girl. I'll go ahead and leave. I like to make things pretty and pink for Danielle, so I'll leave it on that. Each user can pick their own theme, not a big deal. Go ahead and let them have a little fun with their colors if they want.
In the new version, the screen real estate of that color is bigger than it was in the old version. So you actually see it more than you did. So it is kind of fun to change the color. Like, I'll admit, I actually change the color like every couple of weeks. I'm like, let me try green, let me try purple, whatever. So it's silly, but it's kind of fun.
I love the little pretty things.
it's actually one of the things that and in my defense, I don't always have pink up here, but we were playing with different things. But you'll notice over here on the screen, since this is the theme, all of the
I love that.
fields here, they are in that color. So they stand out a little bit better. So the raspberry might give a little eye fatigue, which is, I'm with Michelle. I typically go with the blue. But this was kind of cool to show the difference. It was very obvious to see on the screen to have that bright pink color in there so that you could see this on the screen. So
agreed. Another cool little feature that it kind of plays to something I think all three of us get asked a lot is, how do I create a report? How do I get data based on something? So one of the things I'll pull up here, let me go to opportunities. I think this illustrates it best, is within a list view, and you might be used to either the classic list view here. You may be fancy and get the Kanban view. This is one of those things that, again, people will ask us, I need to see all of my opportunities by stage. And you might think reports. Sometimes a custom view is an easy way to do that. And one of the things that they've added is chart view. So within your module, you can pick a chart view. And this, to me, again, it's a real easy way to get an air quotes report. And then this little button, you can change the different chart that's there.
I love the donut.
I love the donut. I may not love a donut in real life, but I love the pretty little picture. And then you can also, let's say you want to incorporate this into a sales meeting presentation or something. The dot, dot, dot in the upper right-hand corner, you can publish or print this and then drop it on a slide or in your deck or something like that. Now, Danielle, you've brought this up before and just pointed out and head off the question. Right now, the colors are the colors, right? We'd love to be able to click on something and change the color. Not yet. Stay tuned. Like we've mentioned, Zoho is always updating. So stay tuned on that. We're hoping that'll be a feature, being able to control the color. But right now, it is what it is.
It is completely immutable at the moment, but it would be nice to apply company colors, your company palette and such. So
not yet. Maybe.
In the interim, you always had the advanced analytics, which you can choose your own color palettes in there.
Love. The other thing that I wanted to show that, again, these are the kind of the features that aren't the in your face, but we think are pretty helpful. The other, I'm going to go to contacts here. And let me go back to Michelle's record. She is from everywhere, everything, everywhere, all at once. I can never get the title right if you didn't notice. So within here, this is a feature I admit a couple years ago I didn't even know was here. I think Danielle pointed it out to me that is so helpful, which is the timeline. People ask us all the time, did a workflow run? Why is something not working? I don't think this worked, or data changed, what have you. This is a nice way to see what has happened with a specific record, is the timeline. It's a nice little history review here. What's added is interactions. Interactions is more granular, and this is exactly like it sounds. What interactions have happened with that record? Now, not available on every module. We talk about who do we interact with. You're not technically calling an account or an opportunity. Leads and contacts, those are our people records. So you'll find this feature on those modules. But you can even filter the things like what types of mediums, what interactions within which mediums do I want to see. I can turn those on, which users, things like that. And it'll give me the actual interactions that have happened with that record. Nice for the user or the salesperson themselves, but even as maybe a sales manager going to kind of see what has happened with a record, right? I think those are both really great little buried a little bit kind of features that we wanted to point out, that not only is it a switch in navigation, but there's also some bonus features, if you will. You'll have the little sparkle button, try new version. If you don't have that, we'll throw a slide at the end of the presentation with a link to an early access request form. They'll enable that for you as well. So I would say definitely be ready. Check for your sparkle button. If you don't necessarily have your roles and profiles ironed out, we are out here. Check with your partner. Make sure you have a good admin in place and enjoy the new layout. It's pretty great. We're loving it.
It's hard to go back once you get used to it. Like,
it is so hard to go back.
I'm like, oh, it feels clunkier, where that used to feel so comfortable. Now this feels so comfortable and logical. So
absolutely. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Again, we'll put that link to the early access up at the end of the presentation. We appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, guys. I'll see you too soon.
Good day. Bye.